What's your favorite dish using dill? Oh, tzatziki. I don't really like dill that much otherwise. I did fine on the morning straddle, I guess. That's what it's there for. Padding losses since 2022. Oh, there's 40. Ding ding. That was an interesting closing candle. Making me feel some kind of way. Okay, so maybe NQ just fills all its gaps tomorrow. That'd be cool. Back to trend? What would that be? 20, 5230? Definitely interesting. Yeah, so we got like the high test of 60, pretty much stayed within, what the market maker had priced in for today. Didn't get the low test at 25, but there wasn't really a breakdown of the call positioning to the end of the day. Call positioning for tomorrow continued to sell off into close and looks pretty weak, barring the 5250 calls. It's substantially weaker than it was 3 hours ago. Not really common for us to see a big sell off in one DTE call positioning into the end of the day. I guess some of that might be being prompted by the weakness in NQ. It's did not perform well today. We'll see how everything looks tonight when we get the options data, and I'll write that up. The dollar moved back up pretty strongly. Yields did not recover as fully as the dollar, but they have remained high pretty much throughout the whole period. Right, we're right back where yields were going into the Fed meeting. Basically, nothing's changed. We're just kind of like dollars back to spot, and yields pretty much the same too. I said this is important last night, that there's less sensitivity to the dollar in the top end of the yield curve, and it is. But give me a little bit longer to tell you exactly why. It kind of has to do with inflation expectations in the bond market and how they're pricing risk in US Treasuries, which does seem to have changed, but I need more data to be like kind of confident, right? Because that would be a big deal. Core rocketed back down today. Tons of vol shorting, core 1 and 3 months. So dispersion getting ramped up again. This is why I don't want to be super bearish on tomorrow, despite the calls taking profits today, because they could just come back full force in a fairly low volatility environment with very cheap calls, right? Top end of the yield curve tightening up a bit, and we're getting a little bit of a lift on the yield on vol. Carry trade got leveraged up a decent amount today, kind of back to where we were again. Move, that hasn't done anything. Skew yesterday didn't really move much, but it probably moved more this morning. We'll probably see some of the tail risk hedging drop off. That's definitely not up to date. And we've got, yeah, see this, we're not seeing short vol come in like we're getting another big upcycle, right? Like short vol seems to be at least behaving a little more cautiously going into this Friday. And we're not seeing, short puts pile in at like 4200, 4250, right? Yeah, that's interesting. If they're not risking on this breakout might not last, frankly. So yeah, we'll keep looking for signs of that in the options data. If we continue to see Vega exposure drop and VN move up, that may be kind of an indication that we're not getting a lot of those sold tails. And if we're not, and participants are net sellers, then this might revert back. Crush vol, sell it close, save the overnight decay, and pump tomorrow. Possibly, yeah. Put time? Careful with that. I wouldn't say just yet. There's still longer dated positions that are supportive, but weak upside. I mean, I expected the 5250 range to be pretty weak because bulls weren't prepared to move up that high. I didn't expect it to be this weak, and I definitely didn't expect it to go undefended, right? Like they should have all the reason in the world to pump. And if they're hesitant to do that, that could be very bad, right? This market's built on a foundation of only up, and if it doesn't get only up, it's not gonna like that. because the downside still exposes massive amounts of risk, right? NVIDIA feels like it's set up similar to 3.8 when it moved $100 notional intraday. So the only way this is going to mimic that is if the 900 calls that are sold squeeze off, right? And I agree, the trend over the last 3 days isn't bad. You can probably pull it out to here. It's kind of just hanging on to it. But if this doesn't like squeeze out the sold calls, we can fall right back under them. You know, if you go back to 3.8 when we had the crazy day, you know, this was all those sold calls piling in, and that was, you know, following the dividend. So this is when vol like really got crushed hard. But vol's kind of back now. There's definitely an opportunity for that to happen again. But I wouldn't say that setup's like a guarantee. There's definitely support at the 850 level down here, which should probably be paid attention to. There's a little bit of support around 880. I don't know if you can't really see it here, but it's kind of like right there. So both of those levels are a little bit supportive. But yeah, a lot of 900 calls. And if the 900 calls squeeze off, then right, we're gonna probably test 1,000 again or something. I'm so deep in the money. If it goes below 890 and deep in profits 875, nice. All right, thank you guys so much. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Everybody have a great night. Later.